So we got two equations here, and we are given that x is greater than 1, and then we have to find out the value of x minus y. Had you just subtracted these two equations one from the other, you might have actually got stuck. So one way is to write this and say that if I take x common, I'll get x minus y minus 1 equal to 22. You take y common here, you will find that it is equal to y minus x plus 1 equal to 34. Now you subtract these two. So if I subtract these two now, I'll find that this expression can be written as y into y minus x plus 1 minus of x into y minus x plus 1. This is equal to 34 plus 22, that is equal to 56. So we get, if we get this as 56, y minus x into y minus x plus 1 is equal to 56. Basically, if y is x is greater than y, so this could be thought of as minus 7 into minus 8. So you'll find that y minus x is equal to minus 8, because y minus x plus 1 is equal to minus 7. So x minus y must be equal to 8. So the answer to this question has to be, in a football tournament, a player has played a certain number of matches and 10 more matches are to be played. If he scores, so let's say if he scores 1 goal over the next 10 matches, his overall average is 0.15 goals. On the other hand, if he scores 2 goals over the next 10 matches, his average is going up by 0.2. So basically you can say that initially if there were k goals, k plus 1 by, let's say, is already played in n matches plus 10, this will equal to 0.15, and k plus 2 by n plus 10 is equal to 0.2. So you can see very clearly that this 1 by n plus 10 is giving rise to this excess 0.05, or n is equal to, solving this, you'll get n is equal to 10. So the number of matches he has played is, so till now he has played 10 matches, and overall he would play 20 by the time he came. But this question is saying the number of matches he has played. So the number of matches he has played is equal to 10. I hope some of you might have written the answer as 20. That could be a mistake. For all possible integers n satisfying this condition, the number of integer values of this. Okay. So for this to have the number of integer values, we know that the value of n can start from -1. Okay, -1 onwards. And now, what are the values that will satisfy this condition? So this is like 2 plus 1 by 2 squared. That is what you get as. So I must get this is 1 by 2 squared, or 2 to the power of -2, which means to satisfy this condition, the value of n can start from -2, sorry, -4, right? -3, -2, so on. And the maximum value that you can have in order that this is less than 1, less than 202, is 2 plus, so this value 2 to the power of n plus 2 can at best be 2 to the power of 7. Otherwise, if it becomes 2 to the power of 8, it becomes 256. So this will go on till 5. And we know if I combine these two conditions, I'll get the total number of values n can take is -1, 0, 1 till 5. So the total number of solutions is equal to 7. Some of you might have missed this fact that n can only start from n is equal to -1. and it's likely that you would have done the mistake of writing the answer as 10. Let D and E be points on side AB and AC. Again, standard questions that you've come across, which were done in the class. So we have a point AD and we have a point AE. Now we know AD is to BD is 2:1, whereas AE is to EC is 2:3. Now, if we want to find out this area of this shaded region, we know that area of this shaded region will be 2/3, right? That 2/3 is coming from here, because this base is going to be 2/3 of the base of the triangle ABC, and this height out here would be 2/5 of the height. So it will be 2/3, 2/5 of the area of triangle ABC, right? Area of triangle ABC. This is equal to area of triangle AED, which we know is equal to 8. So from this, we can find out the area of triangle ABC. Area of ABC will be equal to 30. Right? Solve this, you'll get the answer. A person is buying tea of 3 different qualities, 800, 500, and 300, and the amounts are in the proportion 2:3:5. She mixes all of them. 1/6 of them is sold at 700 per kg. The price in INR at which she has to sell the remaining to make an overall profit of 50%. So let's say she buys 2, 3, and 5 kgs. So if she buys 2, 3, and 5 kgs, it's going to cost 1600 plus 1500 plus 1500 for 10 kgs. So the average price is equal to 460 rupees per kg. Okay. Now she mixes all the tea, sells 1/6 of this, right? She has got about 10 kgs of stuff that is worth 460 per kgs, and she sells 1/6 of it at 700 per kg. The price at which she should sell the remaining in order to make a profit of 50%. So overall, if she has to make a 50% profit, she must sell, the average price that you should get is 460 plus 230, which is equal to 690 rupees. So if it is 690, if this is the average price, and we know that part of it is being sold at 700 per kg, which is about 1/6, and 5/6 has to be sold at the remaining, right? We want to find out this price. Now it is very simple. So this ratio to this ratio, this will be 5:2, 5:1 on the number line, which implies that if this is 5 parts is rupees 10, 2 parts, 1 part must be equal to rupees 2. So this would be equal to rupees 692. So the answer to this question is 692. The other option also is, if once I know that I need to sell 10 kgs at 690, that's what I need to sell 10 kgs. Part of it you have sold at 700. Okay, some part of it you have sold at 700. 690 is what you should get, and the rest of it you should actually sell at that is what the 5/6 you have to sell at what price, and this is 1/6 you have sold it. So you can also see that the net average is 760. So the deviation about average has to be equal to 0. So 1/6 of 10 kgs into 10 must be equal to 5/6 of 10 kgs into some k. What is k? K is the difference between 690 and this question mark. So you solve this, you'll get the value of k is equal to 2. So which means this must be equal to 692. So essentially a question of allegation asked in a slightly different format. So this I mean I hope all of you managed to do this. If not, I mean you would realize that it's such an actual simple question. F of x is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 4 by 2x squared plus 4x plus 9. So let me write the numerator as x squared plus 2x plus 4.5 minus 0.5 divided by 2x squared plus 4x plus 9. So this can now be written as 1 by 2, that comes from this by this, minus 0.5, or let me say 1 by 2 times 2x squared plus 4x plus 9. So we know that as the value of x goes on becoming larger and larger and larger, this value will tend to 0. Hence, these two choices are anyway out. It should be one of these two choices. The second thing you can say that this obviously has a minimum value, right? And that minimum value, uh, is basically something that we can find out. So if I were to make a guess at this stage, I would have made this guess as 3 and moved on. However, if I want to know the exact minimum value, I would say that, okay, this is given. In order to minimize this, we want to maximize what is there after the negative, which means 1 by 2, the minus maximum, will give you the minimum value of the expression. So to get the maximum of this, the denominator must be as small as possible. So the question now is, what is the smallest value that you will get for 4x squared plus 8x plus 18? So this can be written as 4 times x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus 14, right? And this value, because it's a perfect square, this expression actually becomes minimum value is 0. So the minimum value of the denominator has to be 14. So we are checking for the values of 1 minus 2 minus 1 by 14, which will be equal to 12 by 28, or which is equal to 3 by 7. So the minimum value of this expression will be 3 by 7. Hence the correct answer is choice 3. The number of ways of distributing 15 identical balloons, 6 identical pencils, and 3 identical erasers among 3 children such that each child gets at least 4 balloons and 1 pencil is. So this kind of question is reappearing after a long time. So if we take balloons, pencils, and erasers, these are all identical, and there are 3 children, such that, so we got 15 of this, 6 of this, and 3 of this. We have to make sure that each child, so C1, C2, C3, let me say, each child must get at least 4 balloons. So you're going to give away 4 balloons to each of them. So you're left with about 3 more balloons, and you're going to give away 1 pencil to each of them. 1, 1, 1 pencils. So you'll be left with 3 pencils. So we have 3 pencils, we have 3 balloons, and we've got 3 erasers. Now it is like saying C1 plus C2 plus C3 is equal to 9. These 9 items, which are all sorry, is equal to 3, is, I want to know in how many ways can I distribute the balloons. This will be equal to 5C2 or 5C3. This is equal to 10. Similarly, C1 plus C2 plus C3, this was for balloons. This is for pencils. These are the identical solution questions, right? So having satisfied the criteria, we have got 3 balloons that can be distributed among the 3 people in 10 ways, because these are all 3 identical balloons. Similarly, pencils, 3 pencils among these 3 people can be arranged in 5C2 or 10 ways, and erasers can also be done in 10 bays. Hence, the total number of bays will be 10 into 10 into 10, which is equal to 1000. So this question of finding out the total number of solutions, integer solutions, using identical items is something that's appearing after a long time in CAT. There are three positive integers, x, y, and z. If y minus, and they're in arithmetic progression, and y minus x is greater than 2. So obviously x is the smallest one, y and z. And we have been given that x into y into z is equal to 5 times x plus y plus z. So we know that in arithmetic progression, the sum of the numbers is nothing but, so the average of these numbers is y. So sum of the numbers must be equal to 3y. So I will replace this with 3y. 5 times 3y is equal to x into y into z. So y gets cancelled out. You will get x into z is equal to 15. So since we are talking about positive integers and z is greater than y, I could split this as 1 into 5 or 3 into 5. These are the only two possibilities of distributing x and y. So if z is equal to 15 and x is equal to 1, then y would be equal to 8. So which implies z minus x must be equal to 14. There looks like this. I mean, we are anyway getting an answer. So this could be the other option is when you take z is equal to 5 and x is equal to 3, then y becomes 1. But in that case, you will find that the difference of, sorry, y becomes 4. In this case, you will find that the difference of y and x is equal to 1, which violates this condition. So this solution is an invalid solution for us. So the only valid solution is x is equal to 1, y is equal to 8, and z is equal to 15. So this is your correct answer. One more log question this time in CAT. And again, a fairly easy one. So if you go step by step, log 2, this value is equal to 2. So whatever is inside this, which happens to be this part, 3 plus log 3 to the, and whatever is inside this value is equal to 4. Right? Because we get 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 2, that is equal to 4. So log 3 to whatever is inside the bracket must be equal to 1, or whatever is inside this bracket, which happens to be equal to 4 plus log 4 to the base x minus 1 must be equal to 3. So you'll get from this that x minus 1 is equal to 4 to the power of minus 1, or which is equal to 1 by 4. So x must be equal to 5 by 4. And what is it that we want to find? We want to find out 4x. So since x is equal to 5 by 4, 4x must be equal to 5. So the answer to this question is, this question is straight from any of the standard books that you will find, right? Any standard exercise. We have done this so many times in the class. From a container filled with milk. So filled with milk, which means 9 liters of the milk are drawn and replaced with water. Next, from the same container, 9 liters are drawn and again replaced with water. If the volumes of the milk and water in the container are now in the ratio 16:9, then the capacity of the container in liters is. So basically, we find that there was a volume of milk, which happened to be the volume of the container. You are removing some fraction out of it. So whatever is left behind, let me call that as F. So this fraction is left behind, which implies F into V is the amount of milk at the end of the first process. And now you're replacing it with water. This process is getting repeated again. So this gives you the total amount of milk at the end of 2 operations, which happens to be equal to 16 by 25 times V. So V anyway gets cancelled. So we find that F is equal to 4 by 5. What is F? F is the amount, fraction that is left behind. So what was removed? 1/5 was removed. This 1/5 should be equivalent to 9 liters. So 1/5 of the volume is equal to 9 liters. V must be equal to 45 liters. So the answer to this question is 45 liters. So Raj invested 10,000 in a fund. At the end of the first year, he incurred a loss. So let's say his investment is somewhere. He incurred a loss, but his balance is more than 5,000. This balance, when invested for another year, grew, and the percentage of growth in the second year was 5 times the percentage of loss in the first year. So if this is P% loss, what you have is 5P% is the gain in the second year. And overall, we see that the gain is 35% over a period. So, I mean, you could think of it as two successive increases. Otherwise, I would always look at the choices and check out whether the choices are okay. So if you kind of look at best ways to start with the 10%. If this is a 10% loss, and then you have a 50% gain, obviously the net gain is going to be 35%. So, I mean, you could also check minus P plus 50 minus 10 plus 50 minus 10 into 50 by 100. We know is equal to 35%. This is your successive increases or decreases formula. Or alternately, just plug in the values and check. So the answer to the question is the percentage loss in the first year is 10%. There's so many easy questions. I mean, in this paper, of course, going beyond 13, 14 is a little tough, but going beyond 8 to 9 questions should have been very easy. So here we have modulus of 3x minus 20 plus modulus of 3x minus 40 is equal to 20. It necessarily holds true if the value of x is this. So you could plug the values and also check, but before plugging the values in the choices, let me think of 3x as a. So we are saying modulus of a minus 20 plus modulus of a minus 40 is equal to 20, right? And we know that whenever we are talking about modulus, it's basically the distance between a and 20. So the only way for this to solve is like one of those conventional modulus problems that you would have seen in the past CATs. So if this distance to this distance, if it has to be equal to 20, the only way is a can be anywhere from 20 to distance. So we can say 3x is less than or equal to 20 and greater than or equal to, sorry, less than or equal to 40 and greater than or equal to 20, or x is greater than or equal to 6.33, sorry, 6.66 and less than or equal to 13.33. Among these choices, the one that best fits or the one that satisfies our condition is it's obviously not this, neither is it this, right? So it has to be the value x greater than 10 and less than 15. This is also not valid. So it has to be x greater than 7 and less than 12. This is the only valid value of x that will satisfy this condition. Two pipes A and B are attached to an empty water tank. Pipe A fills the tank while pipe B drains it. So let me draw this and say that this is pipe A, this is filling in, and pipe B, this is draining it out. A is opened at 2 p.m. A opens at 2 p.m. and B is opened at 3 p.m. So the tank gets filled at 10 p.m. A is opened at 2 p.m. whereas B is opened at 4 p.m. The tank gets filled at 6 p.m. Right? If B is not opened at all, in how much time will the tank take to fill the thing? So we can see I would basically take a value, right? So if you say that the amount of volume is V, that must be equal to A to A, where A liters per hour is what is coming in. This is B liters per hour. 2A minus, right? Sorry, it starts at 2 p.m. 8A minus 7B must be equal to the volume. This is your first case. So this tells us that 8A minus 7B is equal to the volume. This tells you that 4A minus 2B must be equal to the volume. So if I equate these two equations, I'll get 4A is equal to 5B. So what do? Let me assume A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 4. That would make it very simple now. We know that volume of the tank must be equal to 8A minus 7B. 8 into A, that is 40, minus 7 into B, that is 28. Let's say it is 12 liters. So how much time will it take? 12 divided by 5. We got A as 5, which is equal to 2.4 hours. Which is same as 144 minutes. AB and CD of a trapezium ABCD are parallel, with AB being the smaller of the sides. So let's take this as AB and say this is CD. So I have A and B here, I have C and D here. P is the midpoint of CD. P is the midpoint of CD. Okay, great. And ABPD is a parallelogram. Okay, that's easy. This we are saying is a parallelogram. So if this is A, this has got to be A, this is also got to be A. So I can see very clearly in this that the area, if this area is A, this area has to be equal to 2A, because you got two identical triangles, right? So this will be A, this will be A. That's how this becomes this. So this area of this trapezium is going to be 3A if this is equal to A, which implies the answer has to be 30. So let's say two trains A and B were moving in opposite directions, their speeds being in the ratio 5:3. So let's take the speeds as 5s and 3s. The front end of train A crossed the rear end of train B 46 seconds after the front ends of the two trains had crossed each other. So if this was a train A, right? This is the front end of the train A, and let's say this is the front end of train B. So this is A and this is B. So what it basically means is this is moving in this direction, this is moving in this direction. So 46 seconds later, this should have obviously reached some point here, and this should have reached the same point out here. What it essentially means, the total distance covered by both of them together must be equal to the length of the train B. So we could say length of the train B divided by 46 seconds must be equal to 8s, or the relative speed, or so LB by 8s is equal to 46. Similarly, from this position at t is equal to 46 seconds, after t is equal to 46 seconds, at t is equal to 46 seconds, this was a situation. This is train A and this is train B. After 69 seconds more, this would have gone to this position and this must have come to this position. So the total distance covered must be equal to the length of the train A. So this plus this is nothing but the length of the train A. Length of the train A plus 8s is equal to 69 seconds. So we can see very clearly LA is to LB must be equal to 3:2. A box has 450 balls, either white or black, there being as many metallic white balls as the number of metallic black balls. 40% of the white balls and 50% of the black balls are metallic. So 40% of white is white metallic and 50% of black is black metallic. So this kind of tells you that the ratio of W is to B has to be 5:4, which implies they must be 19:5. So 15:5, that is 250 white balls and 200 black balls. Now we know that 40% of this is metallic. That means 100 of them are metallic, and 50% of this is, that is 100 of them are. So effectively you have 200 metallic balls, which means the total number of non-metallic balls must be 450 minus 200, which is equal to 250. So the answer to this question is 250. Very simple question of percentages. I know some of people who have missed out this question too. This question was best done using choice. If you are able to find out the conjugate, right? So it could have been, I mean, you could have used the choices to guess the answers. By the way, if you take any rhombus, right, if the sides of the rhombus are 5, and if, let me call this half of the diagonals as A and B, so AB by 2, which is the 1/4 of the area, right, into 4 times will give you the area of the rhombus. So in our case, I could say that AB by 2 into 4 must have been equal to 12. So from which we'll get AB is equal to 6. We also know that A squared plus B squared by using Pythagoras theorem must be 25. So I know A squared plus B squared is 25. So let me write 2AB is equal to 12. So in one case, I will subtract 2AB. In the other case, I would, so I'll get A squared plus B squared minus 2AB is equal to 13. A minus B is equal to root of 13. So let's assume that A is greater than B, right? Similarly, if I add them up, I'll get A squared plus B squared plus 2AB is equal to 37. And A plus B should be equal to root of 37. What are we trying to find out? We are trying to find out 2A. 2A is nothing but root of 37 plus root of 13. So that's the correct answer. Now, how could I use choices? So if I were to say that, okay, one of these numbers is, if this value, we know that D1, D2 by 2 should be the area that must be equal to 12. So obviously D1, D2 is equal to 24. And if I look at this expression, if this was a longer one, see, this is about 6. This is about approximately 3 point something. This answer is less than 4.5. And we know that the larger diagonal has to be greater than 4.5, because D1, D2, if both of them are equal, it will be around root of 24. But if D1 is longer than D2, obviously it's got to be probably more than 5. So this cannot be, this couldn't have been your answer. Similarly, if I take this expression, this is 3 point something, this is also 3 point something, right? So it could have been one of these. So it wouldn't have been these two, obviously. So if I say that if this was the option, root 37 plus root of 13, and since I'm getting a nice rational number, I would have definitely thought of root 37 minus root of 13, right, into by some value, right, into 1 by 2 must be equal to 6. And this expression we know is equal to 24. So 24 into this question mark into 1 by 2 is equal to 6. So you'll find this question mark is equal to 2. So what does it mean? It means that if this was the longer diagonal, the shorter diagonal is root 37 minus root 13 by 2. And it is giving us consistently the area as 12. right? So if you wish to go further and check, you should have checked whether these two, if these two were the diagonal lengths, will the side be equal to 5, right? So, in all such questions, if the first condition is satisfied, most likely the second condition would also be. So I would have just marked root 37 plus root 13 and moved ahead. For a 4-digit number, the sum of the digits in the thousands, hundreds, and tens place is 14. The sum of the digits in the hundreds, tens, and units place is 15, and the tens place digit is 4 more than the units place digit. Then the highest possible 4-digit number. So let's say the number is A, B, C, C minus 4. So we know that A plus B plus C is equal to 14. B plus C minus 4 is equal to 15. Or basically B plus 2C is equal to 19. And A plus B plus C is equal to 14. Now this also kind of tells me that C, if I were to look at the numbers, must obviously be greater than or equal to 4. So let me start with, suppose I assume C is equal to 4. Then what happens to B? B becomes 11. Not possible. Ridiculous. So can it be C be 5? If C is 5, B will become 9. And then A would become 5. Sorry, A would become 0. Again, it doesn't make sense. Right? Similarly, if I check, the best possibility would be, you need to go, you see, the moment you are increasing C, B is dropping more. So if you increase C by 1, B drops by more than 1. It actually drops by 2. So you'll find that the rate at which A is moving is higher, in order to make sure that the summation continues to be 14. So what is it that I should do? I should make C as large as possible. So if I make C is equal to 9, then B will be equal to 1. And then if C is equal to 9, B is equal to 1, then we know A is equal to 4. So which means the answer that we're looking for is 4195. So we have a sequence here from x1 to xn where this property is satisfied. So we have to find out x49, x50. So let me just imagine x1 minus x2 plus x3 minus x4, so on, minus x48 plus x49 minus x50. We know that this value will be equal to 50 squared plus 2 into 50. We also have n going till 49. So I'll get x minus 2 plus x minus 3, x so on, minus x48 plus x49, which is equal to 49 squared plus 2 into 49. So this is equation 1, equation 2. Equation 3 is x1 minus x2 plus x3, so on till minus x48 must be equal to 48 squared plus 2 into 48. So how do I get x50? I get x50 by subtracting 2 minus equation 1. So that will be basically nothing but 49 squared minus 50 squared plus 2 into 49 minus 2 into 50, which is basically equal to minus 99 minus 2. Now, how do I get x49? I would get x49 by subtracting 2 minus 3. If I do that subtraction, I'm going to get 49 squared minus 48 squared plus 2 into 49 minus 2 into 48, which is equal to 97 plus 2. So when I add these two, I'm going to get the answer as minus 2. So x50 plus x49 is equal to minus 2. This is again a fairly simple question. Anil can paint a house in 60 days while Bimal can do it in 84 days. So let's assume that LCM of these two, 420 units to be the total number of units, which of work to be done. So Anil will do about 7 units per day because he's finishing it in 60 days, while Bimal would do it in 84 into 5, that is 5 units per day. Anil starts painting, and after 10 days, so after 10 days, Anil would have painted 70 units, which means there are 350 units left. Bimal and Charu join him. Together, they complete the painting in 14 more days. So these people are now taking 14 more days to finish it. So if they're taking 14 more days, each day of Anil plus Bimal plus Charu would do about 25 units per day. And we know that Anil and Bimal together is about 12 units per day, which implies Charu must be doing 13 units per day. If they are paid 21,000 for the job, then the share of Charu is so basically, how many units did Charu do? Charu was doing 13 per day. She worked for 14 days. This must be looked at as a fraction of 420 total number of units into 21,000. So this goes 30 times. And this is about 700 times. So the answer to this question is 9100. Anil, Bobby, and Chintu jointly invest in a business and agree to share the overall profit in the proportion of their investments. The way it happens in a typical partnership. Anil's share of investment is 70%. His profit share is decreases by 420 if the overall profit goes down from 18% to 15%. Chintu's share of profit increases by rupees 80 if the overall profit goes up from 15% to 17%. The amount in INR invested by Bobby is. So let's say A, B, C are Anil, Bobby, and Chintu, and together they have put a total investment which is equal to 100, out of which 70 must be A's. And let's say this is X percent, this is 30 minus X percent. Now, if the profit happened to be 18%, 18% of 100 rupees would have been the total profit, out of which 70% must come to A. If it was 15%, 15% of 100 would have been the total profit, out of which 70% would come to A. So the difference in this case, you will see is nothing but 3% of 100 and 70% of that, which is equal to rupees 2.1. So, but in our question, the actual difference is 420. 420 is 200 times 2.1, which means the investment should also have been 200 times 100, which is equal to 20,000. So this tells us that since 420 is 200 times 2.1, the total investment should also be 200 times 100, which is equal to 20,000. This is a useful information while working with Chintu. So Chintu, if he has 15% of 20,000, right, and X percent of this, that would have been the profit share when the profit was 15%. In the case when the profit is 17% of 20,000, his share would have been X percent of this. So the difference between these two we are saying is rupees 80. So X percent of 2% of 20K is equal to 80 rupees. By the way, 2% of 20K is 4K. Sorry, 400, right? 2% of 20K. So X percent of 400 is equal to 80. So X is equal to 20%. So we get the answer as 20. If this is 20, this must be 10. And we know the total investment is 20K. Hence, the investment made by Bobby is 10% of 20K, which is equal to rupees 2,000. So correct answer is 4. Suppose one of the roots of ax squared minus bx plus c is 2 plus root 3, where a, b, c are rational numbers. The moment we say a, b, c are rational numbers, if one of the roots is 2 plus root 3, the other root must be 2 minus root 3. So we also have b is equal to c cube. Then what is the modulus of a? So we know that b by a, right, minus b by a in this. So in this case, b by a must be equal to alpha plus beta, which is equal to 4, and c by a, right, minus of minus, let me write it like this so that you don't get confused, is equal to alpha beta, which is equal to 4 minus 3, that is equal to 1. So we have b by a is equal to 4 and c by a is equal to 1. And we also know that b is equal to c cube. So 4a is equal to a cube, from which we'll get a squared minus 4 into a equal to 0. Since a is not equal, since a is not equal to 0, we'll get a is equal to plus or minus 2. Hence, modulus of a must be equal to plus 2.